Mr. Chair, welcome back. Welcome back, Mr. Witness. Before we went on the first break, you were explaining to us schemes that were being run at the NIA and at the police.
Police and NIA,
which would result in unlawful appropriation of property for their own benefits or for the benefit of people they work with. The Commission would want to have a further elucidation of this particular issue.
Can
you explain to us how the scheme worked at the level of the NIA? Just to situate the issue, earlier you told us that there were 3 different parties that were involved. There were land agents or dealers in land, members of the security forces, and members of the land office or surveys.
Land office la bundala wala physical planning wala survey doku bundala.
Can you explain the working methods and arrangements that you have learned about with regards to this particular group?
Ite londo men soto nyinka fola kulu tamandi nyala ika kulu ke nyami da manglu temani ka ke nyamin lafta yejeli bonye nyoto.
Do you understand the question?
Yeah, you fully.
I understand. Could you answer, please?
So, silang akwari ya fahamu lafta ya jabi.
Lafta nyine la kuamiende soto. Mampara na fentu kwa.
I want to say everything that happened to me.
Because ngalam ko tuanyere balle tartanum imbanko fankana manke sate damati.
I know that there were a lot of wrong things that have been done in this country, not just on this particular issue. The powerless never heard the truth in this country. For that reason, we are a part of those powerless. We suffered in the hands of the powerful.
Bari man la fifananga fiamfo min tarako amantarante koto.
I don't also want to say something that is not something that I have not experienced.
Tarako abalari model le kambara mantarallarente kan.
Something that has happened to other people and not necessarily me.
Na tarako nyale ba kuola.
If I have seen it,
nimbankom lua bankoleti.
This is a country that works on law. I could narrate something that has not happened to me. That will be something that may take me to the court tomorrow.
That's why it will be very difficult for me to narrate something that I have seen happen to others, which has not happened to me personally, which might tomorrow create a problem for me, which might lead me into the court. It is a truth, and it's justice to reveal the deeds of these bad people.
From the side of Islam
or
to other religions.
Ina kilinti keremia mukurung mabo support.
There is no one single religion that hides or conceals the wicked.
But I will name those individuals that were so wicked who have not spared anyone. Today there are people in Sukuta who are engaged a lot in the sale of land. As I said earlier on in my statement, there are people who, when they see your signature for just once, they have mastered it. Even if it gets to a stage where someone tore off a page from a leaf from my checkbook and append my signature on it. And that person is notorious for such actions. Until one time the person was caught. And all these wicked criminals are within that same team.
Can you tell us who are the members of that team, as far as you know?
I'll give their names. But if you go to a stage whereby you pardon someone, it is not necessary to revert to the issue again and start it afresh.
Mr. Witness, this is a national inquiry of very important issues.
So
because of the importance of that, we ask you to speak the truth. And under the laws of this commission, you have an obligation to answer questions you are asked and to answer them truthfully.
Commission la sartol ni la loi landir mukamma wala lambe nyinin kala adu ninge nyinin ka menna inyanta jabiro kala le adu be men jabila anyanta kala tonyality.
Where the commission appreciates the need for confidentiality, that confidentiality would be granted.
Means commission lafta kullo la dawo da pour ko kundi nyanta kala kulloti commission be kullo londilale.
But unless the commission decides that a matter should be kept confidential, you have an obligation to answer.
Bari ninko kundi yalon ko commission mom pare kullo tamandi la jey sulata tonyalla woto enyanta wo tonya fulale commission yole kani.
And I encourage you to proceed accordingly.
Alu woto mbeni hanmo dundile kono pour yetentengo silo kan.
Who are the members of this syndicate you are talking about?
Jumalo nyimulu timeni yalon ko be dendi nyin kuruyala e kamanu foten.
Could you give him a sheet of paper, please? The witness is going to write the names of the members of this criminal syndicate.
Sedo be kaito tala nyin kurumulu be kafo min kanyin molu menu bakono ay menulong abewolle tolu safela tay.
Perhaps, Mr. Chair, may I just clarify one point as the witness writes down these names.
Council ka lafta bula kilin sene andi la sedo be nyin to safo ke kan wato menten.
It's not within the remit or the mandate of the commission to investigate fraud or other similar crimes of dishonesty that have been carried out by members of the public or even members of the security forces or the NIA for that matter.
Nyimmanke nyin commission la lonkunto dunoti puruka tapale ya kuli nakari kulu kisi me ya lonko civilian le yake bang kanto nin tankada bunda le yake bang wala fanna dolu e wolu manke nyin commission do koti pour que bulawlu no make no masata.
Our mandate is to investigate human rights violations.
Ntella nyanto mu nyineti pour que molla hadama ya nyanto lu melu tinyata pour que bulawlu no.
In this particular instance,
bitu waya sabu nyin ko memba kanteng
the witnesses, the violation of the rights of this particular witness, his right to his property.
Nyin sedo membe diamu kanteng yala nyantolu menu tinya ala nafulo me yala ka tele tam nyanta tinya lu men kataje
and the right to be dealt with according to the dictates of the law.
Anin fanam purka ukulu no masata kulua ya fonyamin purka ukulu tamandi onya
those were breached
ya law nyantolu menu tinya
in the process of carrying out other criminal behavior, criminal conduct such as fraud.
Anin fanam ukulu betama kantumu mena kuruya kotangu menu ketaje menu beko tapale ya
but our focus is not on the fraud, but rather on the violation of the rights of the witness.
Ntella korosiro mantara lari wo tapale yakang bari sedo la nyanto lutinya dameng ntel nyabe lorin wolle kan.
So we are looking into this fraud simply because we cannot get to the rights violations without talking about the fraud.
Bitun niaje bitun benyin tapale ya kudo jubela mtefuta no la nyanta tinyaluma nimma nyin tapale ya ko nyin no masata hanfo ngaloke so kundo.
I am saying this mainly because I don't want the commission to be inundated with claims of fraud that may have been made during the 22 years involving members of the security forces.
Niaje mbenyin folabi malla fi kumandiroli yena siya commission noma tapale ya kolu tu menu ketanum nyin sanji mu annim fula tambila kono wala nan lafta nyin dinkira senayandila.
But that said,
bare niyo fota
we would still encourage members of the public whose rights were violated by members of the NIA to come forward.
Bare o nyawnyanding ye molu menu la nyantolu tinya adun NIA o le nyanta tinya ke la hadama ya nyantolu ikanasila imuruna yena ila kolu landi commission nyatilinga.
We still encourage them to continue to come forward and file their claims with the commission.
Hanimbe mbe nyin dundile so hakilolu kono ko isi fereke yena ila kolu la commission nyatilinga nyanta tinyalu menu boita itulukan.
Let's allow the witness to finalize the list.
Sai mbe selu bulala abe menu tolu safe kanteng ayolu beto safe faye bandi.
Thank you.
Inimbara.
He has to sign the document. Mr. Witness, you have indicated on that list, I understand, the names of those who are actually resident in Sukuta.
Selo yetolu menu safe o kaito bala molle men yalon ko be sirin Sukuta sate wala kono.
If you know others who are not necessarily resident in Sukuta but are still involved in this syndicate, please list them.
Hanna misali kamanata re modolu fanan long men yalon ko idabe nyin kurun kafo kono hanna tare mantara sirin Sukuta sate o kono itolu kije.
Thank you, Mr. Witness.
Thank you.
So you have indicated that those persons you have named on the two lists are members of the criminal syndicate.
Sila yaitandiko nyimmo menu tolu safeta nyin kaiti fulo bebala wolebe dendi nyin kruya kafola.
That land in Sukuta.
Men ya lonko wolebulo be banku kene kunya lutamando to Sukuta sate kono.
Together with the police.
In NIA wala in police.
Exactly.
Can you explain to us how the scheme worked?
Afanye itelanyi kolu ke tamandi nyadi.
Okay. Ikamineke ni yankuba chamembe fiscal plan. For fiscal plan
Example to me, Musa that person's name is usually in their database and he will see it there. That land. For example, sold to someone in April, he will prepare an
for preparing such a document that would predate the actual document of sale between the real owner and the buyer.
Muna mo itolla daliloti. Nyin kamala ko niteliyo kaitol da e kalunne kije me ya lonko juna ya data janning tonya tionyin tabe de dala ikaw munan ne kawke
e ko ke da nyami wala nyinde ko folo ikala alkalo le tampo fo joka tarebul.
What the way they do it, is first of all they will forge the alcalo stamp.
Ni le tampo ni alkalo tampo le tabola nyoto.
When you see their stamp and that of the alcalo, you will not be able to differentiate.
And when fiscal plan fanala approvement of tarebul kon.
And also they have the approval from the physical planning.
Fiscal plan.
When you compare their own and one from the physical planning, you will not also be able to differentiate.
So they
give the problem to so many people within Sukuta. You find yourself in problems and you don't even know how you got there. When documents are laid before you, they look very authentic. When you take it to fiscal planning, they will admit that it is their stamp, but then they will not be able to tell how it came about.
At the end,
in the end, the person's name whom they have put on the document usually is the one that ends up owning the plot of land. And Boto Keta is among these people, and he's a police officer. There's one called So, I don't know his name. They even bought him a vehicle.
I told him, Mr. So, we are bantermates. Between me and you, we are bantermates. So you shouldn't do things like this to me.
Ka na fenka yen sindi jambirin somanda fo wularo.
I told him, you made me to sit down here since morning until evening over my property.
Ka bar alba kitila nitem.
Said, but God will pass judgment between you and I. But I don't know his name, but he took me to the Bakote way, the police station.
But Miniketa, it told Mandia.
But what happened is, knowing their names is not easy, because when someone is involved in these dubious activities, they don't tell you their names.
In a sense, Mr. Witness, what you are saying is, correct me if I'm wrong, I just want to dissect this so we understand the scheme, how it is played.
So between amunta nimfilita drong ntilindi bari between amunta itel kanyim fere fasomole tamandi pour kanyim kuruya kuluke.
You're suggesting that this criminal syndicate would create fake documents and transfer a piece of land to a person.
Munta itel katapale ya kaito leda ye korda keno nyinta ka dimo do la me ya lonko itel lafta dila wolela.
Kodo mitamimbul.
One that they have received money from.
And then that person would put up a claim of ownership over that land.
Exactly.
Wol ketan tifonla mi alongat ko NI do mi ka fay ko abana statement ko ne ka fay ko abana statement ko.
What happened to me?
Kijera, something Kijera.
With one NI officer, the name is in the statement, but his name is Kijera. That happened to me personally.
Kijera, NI long.
Kijera, he was an NIA.
That is not in your statement,
okay.
but tell us about it. Tell us what happened in that instance.
Investigation
time ola.
During the investigations, I said this to them. They will arrest you, take you to the station. They will take you to a particular compound. Whatever pleases them, they will do it to you. And when you leave that place, you will not dare say it.
Well, thanks to God, this is a place where you can say anything and you will not be scared that they will come after you because you have the protection of this commission.
Between alatentu, janne modulati inyenta fula dami, katu bimbe tilo mento, ite hanyila pulka ulikane nokan, katu nyin komisong la kanto nintankole belari ite kambi, wairi futata jang.
And I warn every individual who's been mentioned adversely in this commission to make sure that they uphold the law and not to try to either threaten or take any action against this particular witness or any other witness of this commission for that matter.
Adung mbenyi molu dandalar koyola ko mene alon ko ye kuruya ke tolu fota jang mbe dandalala ko ikanamo silandi wala ikanafo belua tale bulokono pour ka kuke mo la meya lonko wolle keta sedolu tin commission nyati wala ko bi itebe sedaro la janyamin mbe dandala la wala isa lonko lua belari ne bi men be atelu kantaka
ila ko ati ngana namba falim mi an ngana namba min soron se konten ngamen falim
because of because of them, I had to change my number several times, telephone number, just to run away from them.
We want to know exactly what happened. Don't think that by telling us tidbits we would know exactly what has happened. We won't be able to fill in the details. You have to give us all the details. Tell us what happened between you and Kijera, how it all happened.
Ntelu ne misalo lu fonya be koleala le purunalo bari leftalo na mem fang keta sako itani wo Kijera temo men keta je ay men ke lefta yo ko indimma.
Okay, kaiti kilimbe mbulo kono jang.
I have one document in my possession.
Kijera, Noah Kijera.
Noah Kijera.
NIA.
He's an NIA officer.
Nanyidinkira ni musomi mbana nyobala.
My plot of land, which is bordered with one woman.
Ikafu musonye Hawa Jallo.
Her name is Hawa Jallo.
Anen nakora nyi ngalo le fompareta.
And already I had built my compound and completed.
Ma roof but self futata.
I did not roof it. It was a self, but the building work was done.
Ni Hawa Jallo namna nadula fence la nga call nkai ko left nadula fence la le.
And I called her well before I fenced my compound to inform her of my intention to erect a fence.
And found Nata Nanje.
She came there herself.
I tonkonano block on Willinije for me low 1 meter C.
She raised the 4 corners up to the 1 meter height.
But akoto bakilin fa kele wodi musol be futuri ni NI boy kafmi nu hakijera.
But her older brother, whose daughter was married to this NI officer, Nuakijera,
ako ntelekeno mumebe dunda tekane.
Said that our land, that we encroach upon their land. That they should demolish my house to add it onto their plot. Or I should refund her $300,000. She went to the chief. I was served by the chief. We got there and they said that we should pay so that they would go and inspect the site. The chief in Lamin.
$750.
They said I should pay $750.
Our Jallo fana $750
and our Jallo too should pay $750. And then the delegation will leave, the chief and his entourage, to inspect the site. I told them I was not going to pay the money. I was brought here by our, and therefore she should be the one to foot the bill. I should not fit a case for her. If I was the one that summoned her, I should be the one to foot the bill. But I cannot foot her case. Nuha Kijera was present and trying to show off her status as an NIA officer. And he insisted that I should pay that amount because they will also pay a similar amount. At that juncture, I was not with cash. One of my relatives was there, who is now late. She is amongst the people who take part in the court cases. And she asked me, how much are you supposed to pay? I told that individual the amount.
Cindy afana sita $750.
She completed, she added something and it got to $750. Hawa paid also the same amount, and we
the person who gave you money to complete is a he or a she?
Meya kolo nyi Cindy pruitela kolo me nyanta jola meya to timmandi kelom fu musolem
kelom
this male
Alhaji Balmane anata balfaso ronya anata kolo timmandi.
He sympathized with me and he added money and completed the.
Was the place visited eventually?
So
when we got to the site,
the
clerk of the chief, a very wicked man.
Mukurumba is not wicked, does it?
Mukurumba, a very, very bad person.
Crooked, isn't it?
Crooked person.
Yes, sir.
So, delegation obey mean that young nimbe kumofole nyanta folo nyo nyalale.
No, the delegation that went normally when we are normally when we are speaking, we have to do it at the same time. Together.
Longs nata kiti dingol mo dantan kumandi.
Longs called members of the chief's entourage, just a few
tribunal, the members of the tribunal, the chief's tribunal, and called them aside. He called a few of them aside.
Anata hawajalo fanala miniba mininato toyala je anata mofula kumandi wal fana kono.
He also called 2 members who came on behalf of our. And he left me alone, standing by myself. They went, discussed until they were done.
30 by 40.
Our plot was measuring 30 by 40 meters.
Okay,
When Longs called these few individuals and left me standing all by myself, what they discussed there is only them that know it and Allah.
Longs, what is his full name?
Longs
He is the clerk to the chief.
The chief in Lamin.
Late chief. Clerk to the chief of Lamin.
Instead of 30 by 40, measurement.
Our plot was measuring 30 by 40 meters.
Data 15 by 40.
Mine was 15 by 40. And all our 40 was on one side. When Longs wanted to start these crooked deals,
so 30 by 30 dinkara, okay, 30 by 40
so they said measuring 30, he made it 30 by 40, and that meant that they would encroach into my land.
So that means 40, that means 30, that will cross, okay, 40.
And they said that was 30, he turned it, to change it into 40.
So I'm going to 10 meters dunta hawa keta 40.
So this meant that 10 meters for my land was added onto ours, making it 40.
In the end, from the action that you have just described by Longs, what size of plot did Hawa end up having?
Between Bril Longs you sumandir kurumuke. Awala kenwa
mafoko aye sumandin kurumuke.
Bring Longs you sumandir fasomoke. Awala kenwa nata kanyang jellema.
And let me explain this. The reason for clarifying this is the commission is not sitting in judgment of the fraudulent nature of these transactions, because the commission is only hearing one side of the story.
Amunda commission mantara sirin puruka nyinko ka ke kiti teoti menketa nyinkuru ya kote amunda dunjang mbe karakilin doron ne lamoy kam follow wala mo itela karoti.
The commission is hearing this as background information only.
Commission do nyil lamoy kam ko kibar lo me yalon ko iba futande kam commission male,
so that it would be understood that there is some fraudulent conduct
as ni sifamu ko ko soton dale men keta men yalon ko e manke kutilindi ngoti
by some crime syndicates within our security forces,
men yalon ko kukurun kela lamuyeti men yalon ko benna security wala kono,
which in the process create or cause human rights violations of the citizens of this country.
Men yalon ko bo ko lu menu keka wunya aka nyim banko dimulile la nyantolu tinya.
So we are hearing these issues or allegations of fraud only en passant to hearing the rights violations that occurred.
Nyinkuru ya ko lu ne ajembe lamoy kal laftal lonale molu la nyantolu menu tinyata ko no nyantolu tinyata nyami.
And the commission I would wish to encourage people to see this as mere allegations by the witness and not necessarily proven facts as to what has actually transpired.
Bitumbe lafila molu sinyilita follow ko tumirol lem follow you tumirol lem bari molu kanata ko kulle mu men yalon ko ku sotori lari no lemoytu luala karola follow.
Considering that the witness is speaking under oath,
one,
the commission would be able to assess the statements and take them for what they are. Okay, but we are not necessarily sitting in judgment of, or we are not necessarily investigating fraudulent transactions that may have taken place involving the security forces.
Amanka kombe mantara siring purka kitite wala kabula kukurungulu da manno mameya lonko security ole yake kabula ulno maonya kensenke.
So could you proceed with that event in your place involving the late chief of Lamin and his clerk Longs and the problem with Mrs. Jallo?
Between sa intenten tala sefo nyi membanta aning ala clerko me ka fay Longs ani Mrs. Jallo law keno kunyalu natala nyamin sila isitente yo sata.
And where exactly was that land located?
Sa keno fonga be mintole
keno nyimfele ni bota turntable auto.
If you live in the turntable,
ikata airport kam
heading towards the airport,
garden babe marakaro.
There is a big garden on the left-hand side.
Ala bulba karola keno bo mafala.
And it's on the right-hand side of the garden. That's where the land is situated.
Okay. So tell us, you are suggesting that Longs changed some of the measurements. What was 30, he now made it 40, thereby encroaching into your land. At the end of the day, how much land was allocated to Mrs. Jallo?
sa yebe nyel fo kanko dame ya lonko anyanta suman la kake meter tan sabati amunta sumandiro to ko yafa nyamel Longs yole la fa kake meter tan naniti birin sumandiro mumno be banta silang etelinata yirko mendi Mrs. Jallo la o sumandiro nata kanyan jellema
wala min kamunda sila ye Mrs. Jallo la ploto ke 40 by 40 leti woto.
This is to say that her plot of land has now become 40 by 40.
And
initially, we, on our one side of the border, all of us had 40 meters.
And how much were you to end up with?
5 meter.
5 meter?
By 40. Is that it?
Exactly. So
so Long said that my house has to be demolished. He made that judgment right there on site and said that my house was standing on our land. Initially,
those pegs, those boundary delimitations, who erected them?
Follow. Unani ulu kordala na ne ulu menu tarta jenu jumale ulu kije
minye wal kije amunta konteni hawabe mbenga sorulla kilingolto arangolom ko la nyimbara momo ba tilindin teng ibeba 40 la kono
it was
so butun komal ala inkarado wala different dole 20 soto dole 15 soto dole 40 soto dole 30 soto
question o nyinti naneol jumale ya keje ite
mbije hawa jallo fon anata bloko nyi wulen block work wulen di ton kon nanot hawa jallo fon
our jallo erected block works at the corners
minketa nuwa kijera bitamati.
That is the in-law to Noah Kijera.
And when Hawa erected them, at what point did she erect them? Was it the 40 or at the 30?
Hawa be bloko lukeleje wayatara. Tansabo men follow sumanta nungu ayake ole dandulato bang for bring tanano detail lo mayo lukije.
Hawa be udla sumana mina sumankule.
When she was measuring, she measured it properly.
Yo bari birim futata je.
But when we got there,
there was
a member of the tribunal who asked who erected those blocks at the corners. Awa said that she did that. Then that individual said, then this case has solved itself. Cham did not encroach into your land. If at all it was Cham that erected these block works,
we will look at it in another way.
But it phone not a four corners will be mute.
But you are the one that four corners by yourself.
And Cham Mantaraje. And
Cham wasn't there.
So you four corners Mandinga counter.
So you're these four corners in the Mandinga language.
This
is to say that this is where I stop. Cham.
Cham man
Then Cham has not encroached into her land. One of the alcalos said so.
You said when they first have their conversation, you were left alone standing.
Because wato me itata nyu kumandi karala ibe diamula otembo tume na ye kilinne tuloring.
Yes, they left me all by myself.
How did you know about what you just told us?
Say yeme mfonyeten inata olo nyadile.
Komi ngam mfoteng.
Amunta nyimbe mfoteng alikalo menko longsenko Cham mandu nyinkang.
So ye wolo nyadi.
Ye wolo nyadile.
That time they had left their meeting. It was after the meeting. It was after they had their meeting.
Cham,
what he's saying is that after they had that discussion aside, when they came, and that's the time when Longs started the measurement afresh, then that's the time when one of the alkalis asked, who erected these original boundary blocks here? That's the time when Hawajalo said they were placed there by herself. Then that's the time when the alkali said to Longs, well, if these boundary blocks were placed by Hawajalo herself here, and Cham was not present at that time, then Cham didn't encroach into Jalo's land.
Okay, we have to cut this story short. In the end, what happened?
So, ko bandula biro beketa mune natake.
One day I went to my shop to sell, and when I returned home, I found a document that I should answer to the High Court.
Ntaraje ikomba nyanta number min commando one number of 2932930.
I forgot 2932 32 walemba
93
afaba follow bla kaba follow bla to fa ban bla
29
32
930 and in 35
and 35
41
152
no taran letter about number command.
So I found these numbers on the letter, and they instructed me to call these two lines or any one of them once I get to the High Court. Next morning I went to the High Court. I called the numbers, and someone came and picked me up and took me inside the office. So this person told me that the chief has passed judgment between you and our Jalo, and that your house has to be demolished. I'm going to write a letter and take it to the fiscal planning to that effect. And the person also told me any expenditure incurred by the fiscal planning during the course of demolition, you would have to pay it. Before all of that, go and demolish your own house, because that place belongs to her. I did not even mind them. I went home. One day, Noah Kujera called me from a commune line.
69 53
616. He called me on several occasions and told me to go and answer to him, or he will be forced to pick me up. I told him, I'm coming. Where are you?
Fabakar Tombon Johnson Auto Talindi Nifra Jernian Koleke Funtila.
He told me I am at Fabakar Tombon's Junction. If you get there, when you call me, I'll come out.
Which Fabakary Tombong are you referring to?
Fabakary Tombong Jata Jumalema.
I told for Nyeten.
This was how you gave me the name.
You added Jata there. The witness did not.
Fabakary Tombong.
Ko Fabakary Tombong.
Jata. To for Nyeten. Mfutata jenga mol nyineka Johnson janga futa for akonye janno mujijang. Jita jenga call afundita.
I asked there, when I got there, I asked the driver, and he told me this was Johnson. I alighted and called, and he came. I went there and found our Jallo and several other individuals. The place was, there were many people there. In fact, I can recognize that house. You disturbed me a lot. In fact, they brought out a paper which they told me to sign to admit that that place belongs to our Jallo. Who did that? The NIA boy who is Noah Kijera. And it was in the night.
Can you explain how Noah Kijera got you to sign that document?
Noah Kijera yete sign in the Kaito la nyadile.
I am bidding for that moment na say more sile.
When I got inside the house, I found up to 6 people.
During
the course of the discussions, one of them identified himself as the owner of the compound. And he said to me, I am the one they call Ndong. Noah said to me, you will undress, remove your shirt and your trousers, and we will take you along, or you sign this document.
Did he say where he would?
In the time of the investigation, I revealed this information to the investigators.
Did he tell you where he was going to take you?
If I did not do that, wherever they were going to take me to, he did not say.
In which capacity was he speaking, as far as you know?
He was an NIA officer, and he was not a low ranker. And he was ours in-law too.
What I am driving at is, was he telling you to do that in his own capacity as Noah Kijera, or was he telling you this in his capacity as an NIA officer?
Atemu Noah Kijera leti atela sembo kang wala abafoka yuniko atemu NIA do kulaleti.
Exactly. Atandina wala nyama ando mini fana beba bunkon hawabije hawake mabije do fana bije kafa sise. Mo jama bije wolbe atandina wala nyama ko ita bola janyin kay to man say na ndum be isisi lela ela silfanom be balamba urana la ngi funtinde banda.
That was how he showed it to me, including our husband and other people. They told me that they will take me virtually naked if I did not sign. And then I signed.
Why did you sign it?
Because what he was intending for me, I did not want that to happen to me. So I signed.
Mr. Witness, you making a serious allegation here.
Exactly.
You are
and I recognize this compound.
You are suggesting that Noah Kijera, an NIA officer, abused his position?
Noah Kijera, NIA do kulalong amunta ay lanna tambo leke ala do ko nyinkono.
And he threatened to strip you naked together with other people in order to throw you outside if you did not sign a document conceding or ceding ownership of your land to our Java.
Amunta aye silandi nyile kanko nite mang isong puruka ite lakko bara abe uranale wo molu ani wo molu men be sirinje ibe uranale puruke kense mo fintindi nyin kamako ite lu lafta men na idole kala walla yokela.
Wallahi.
Indeed.
On the oath, Mr. Witness.
ibe kali wala kono de sedo.
Exactly.
You swore that this is the truth that has happened.
Ibe kali la ko nyum to nyaati menketa.
Alin sa kalo se kan ko ke fam.
Even if I am to redo the oath again, the thing I am saying is exactly what happened, and it was done in the presence of up to 6 people.
Did you sign the document?
Not a kaito nyin sign.
I ended up signing the document.
Did you have a copy? Do you have a copy?
Sayo kaito me ya sign do bete fanam bulle bang.
Osu to ndeta copy oso nola.
On that night, I could not have access to such a copy.
They already had a court judgment. Why was it necessary for you to sign that document?
Kato kito yenyin ko taile num fabanda. Sai muna na ite bina kaito sign la meaning kito la kaito te killing.
Ila kuriya bro.
In their crookedness, that's all.
And what happened to the house that you built on the land?
Ite obungu mello wo dinkirato mune nata ke obungu la.
Abungu nyin silang biru wo bota jele.
It was after that.
Nintala nata du nyola te kora kilo.
Answer the question.
Ani mune nata ke bungu la wo kokola.
Bungu nyin tusu bankala imana na boy imana na fenkala kanta nyal kasile bare ko mfanga boy waran fiscal plan bana boy la. Ntema boy bar fiscal plan fana manta jan bumbi jan sai.
Nothing happened to the building. I just let it be because they said I was to demolish it myself, or the physical planning guys will do it, and they did not come, and so the building was left standing there.
Did our take the house?
Awadu atanata wo bungu tale bang.
Abunyinta.
Ah.
No, hawabi kafutaje.
No, Howard doesn't go there.
Ila mobi kataje fara.
And none of their people go there as yet.
Look, so witness, in which portion of the land did you build the house?
Amunta keno yim minto mafa ete bungulo keno dinkiraju malto.
Keno nyimfila ni pota ni bota tontebuloto.
Ani keno yim mume kono. Ye bungulo keno damento yalom keno yasmane yadila keno ton konto le ma temalom wala keno mindo mafang.
Koranyi ma oranga lo temala 15 meters by 40, so 15 al karola koranyi fala.
I built it in the center.
Look, let me explain this.
But why you
You said you owned 15 by 40.
Because it is time maintenance, 15 meters and karo 40 meters.
And our Jalo owned 30 by 40.
Our Jalo tamu 30 by 40 leti.
And the judgment was 10 by 40 would now go to our Jalo.
Itumbiria ko kitifuka pare wala minti 10 by 40 wala bita our Jalo ya.
Yes, that will go to our.
So you'd be left with 5 by 40.
Munda 5 by 40 will be relatable.
Where on that 15 by 40 that originally belongs to you did you build your house?
Say 15 by 40 me along ko follow ke wala muite 30 abe wala nyinin ka kan yebulo minto ma fanne wo 15 by 40 nyin kono.
Ni bota hawal keno te kana ntele kana.
If you leave house plot, you go to my plot.
So ntela 40 ba temberinda minfe.
Where the side of my 40 was.
Different 40 ba tilindi wale fe.
40 also is on the same side.
Na koma na 15 ba tilindi minfe.
Behind me where I have my 15.
Awala 30 ba temberindi wale fe.
That's where Hawa has her 30 meters.
Sala near 10 meters lafa hawala 30 ka bakela hawaba tala 40 by 40 square.
So if you add 10 from that, from my 40, now Hawa will have 40 by 40. That's why they said that my house is all in our plot of land.
And you signed a document giving that land to Hawa.
Amunda inata kaito sign kaokeno di Hawala.
Yes.
Okay. Since that house is entirely now land, what happened to the house?
Sai wari ite work sign ro ya sign hawale tamu dinkirati. Mune nata kekeno nyina. Mune nata
hawale tamu nyin kenyoti.
Hawale tamu keno
mune keta nyimbungoto.
Mune keta bungu nyina.
Biring ene ali wulta drong 2016 feketaro tolbe bora jele jebulale ibuka naje ntelefen ko continue to wal nyame ibuka naje manje made ansa ibuka naje.
After 2016 the NIA stopped coming and nobody came, and so my house was left there and it has not been touched.
Okay, let's get this clear.
You
Hawa Jallow has a judgment against you. The land on which the house is now given by the court to Hawa Jallow.
Amunda itele kito kenyaming ite tamu keno mentinu yole di yole lafa Hawa Jallow takal.
Koto leye wo decision ta.
Kiti bunda le yo kangolondi.
Kiti yo nyimbirin data register.
I heard you statement. When the case, we registered the case, that time the judgment was not yet passed, and we went and visited the site. So when we went to visit the site, Long said that my plot was as encroached into our land.
Look, let's go. You also told us that you were called at the courthouse. Correct?
Yes.
And you were told that there was judgment against you.
You didn't get the point clearly.
There so we understand.
Yes, I come from Safaham. Ha, Kiti Bunda
birin tata je.
Tata minto Kitoto.
Yana lem kumandi nga letter otaranyato ikonye ko nyin number ni frata ya ko banjo ni konye ko judgment o ketela keno lale. Bari fiscal plan ba kirije preta je boy ntedo man judgment kalam an Kiti manke.
He said there was no trial.
Woketa Kiti woketa banjun lati.
He said this happened that there was no trial. A letter came to his compound informing him to go to the courthouse. And two telephone numbers were written there telling him to call one of those telephone numbers. But there was no trial, and that's how he went back to where he went to the courthouse and he called this number.
And that's how it was explained to him that he has to demolish the house, otherwise physical planning would go and demolish it.
Amunta jele mu yenyum foyenko biriyo wo telephone mandiro ke wo mari le nata ka foyenko ite fawle be wala bungo boyla wala physical planning yela bungo boy.
Okay. Do you know the name of that person?
Yo mari tolo ne bang
ma tolo bare ngol telephone number di alla teng.
I don't know the person's name.
Me a letter o kin tela suo kono.
But I just handed you, given you the number, telephone numbers to that person who sent the letter to my house.
Do you still have a copy of that letter?
Letter
but telephone number
the letter is not with me, but the telephone numbers are.
Okay. So in a sense, you were just told about a judgment against you, but you did not see any physical document saying that this is the judgment.
Amunta itilenyi kumakam foite ite idalela ko ye nyinko landi nyaming amunta kulo me ya lonko sila ite man sembe soto ya fo dal la tendron bari kaiti man soto ye mem dila ka foko ye mem fo ye wala fele kaito fele nditeng.
Exactly, sana na kumonyaje.
It is now that you have seen my point.
And this person you met at the courthouse in Banjul, did he take you to an office within the premises of the court building, or did he take you elsewhere when he informed you about the need to demolish your house?
Imari meye tarao kiti bundala biriyo nomba kumandi. Ayedundi bungole kono kiti bundala je fango bang, fodung aye fintindi jele aye samba bundo kono puruka nying kumolu bonyoto.
I am doing the official courtroom today.
You took me inside.
Number called the another phone to Nakonana. It's a Musa Cham Trrc, another phone don't tell officer on a sin seat. I won't go Yakalam to judgment of Keta, safe for judgment of Kelab Laralco, Inyatela Bumbelale.
After the person called me, and
after I called the person, he came and told me to go with him into an office.
My judgment of Moidielato.
That's the place where he told me that the chief has taken judgment, the chief has decided and did a judgment against you that you should demolish your house.
Okay, did you inquire from the chief where the judgment was made on that case?
Ina ta sefo ya le kanyinin ka fudun tonya ye kito tele nyin koto ba.
Ntara sefo ya barman sefo je ngalons je.
I went to the chief, but I did not find him, but I met Longs, the clerk.
Akonye yes na judgment okele na kiti okele nkesa febika na kiti otonka wo manke because intembanta mambijang.
He said, yes, we passed judgment. We had judgment. We used to write to you, but you never respond. I said to him, that has never been the case because I am here. I have never traveled.
But you got indication from Longs that judgment was already passed.
Ara munta Longs le nyin kibaro di lako itele kito tele andu ko lata wole nyama kata ya fo nyami.
Birim banjun miye number ina wo fonye nata Longs ya Longs fana kuma kilim fonye.
Okay. From Banjul, the one that gave me these numbers, what the person said to me was the same thing that Longs said to me also.
But in addition to that, when they took you to the street of Fabakari Tombong and Kijera, Noha Kijera, and others got you to sign a document that you now cede all that land to Awajalo.
Birin yin ko katafaka pare wo kola long itelnate samba dinkirato ko Fabakari Tombong na dinkira bewoleto dame ya foko inyanta yin kaito sign la pru yo keno yin yabula Hawajallo bulu wole nata labankela keta wole nyama
wole labanda kela kata Fabakari Tombong jatia.
That was what happened. After that, we never saw each other.
Let's clarify this. Fabakari Tombong Jata ya ye for Sani.
Say iko Fabakari Tombong Jata.
Yeah.
Johnson Oto. Jindila world. Exactly.
Nyanta clarify la dro.
Ala Johnson. At least Johnson.
No full nadi amfalunga keta wala nyam. Bari ndunda korami kono. Bidi molmi bebe nteje kilindi ya kwenye ntem korati. Denka ete ntele mum donta kwenye ntele mum donti.
Ndong.
Ndong.
Okay. So among Fabakari Tombong Jata ya ala street lemdoro.
It's not inside Fabakari Tombong Jata's compound, but just the street.
Okay. If Noha Kijera was not there and asked you to sign this document, would you have signed it?
Nin Noha Kijera tije nun. Andun amafo fanan ko nyin kaito sign iba sign la numba
did I sign ani na mo fulo bantanta sign
I wouldn't have signed even if
ani mo fulo bantanta sign ni bantam tilibulo
if I told it was the two of us outside I wouldn't have signed, or even two other individuals I wouldn't have signed.
And you said in 2016 they stopped going there. When in 2016 did they stop going there? Was it during Yaya Jammeh's reign, during Yaya Jammeh's leadership as president, or after Yaya Jammeh has fallen?
In 2016, Nimolu Ibmana Taje Je Tabula. Akatanu Yaya Jammeh la wato le mikataje banfu ala wato bandigolo ye jebula.
Biring mbota Fabakari Tombong Yaya Jammeh la wato fon le jebula because biring taman dula yimboy mbike makamu ibikan kole mbike kole ni la kole nata danyo wala nyama. They
stopped going there while Jammeh was still in power. It was after that our erected our own structure within our own plot of land and did not touch my house.
Okay. So apart from the threat by Noha Kijera for you to sign the document, which you did, the NIA or Noha Kijera did not do anything else to you on that particular transaction?
Bring Haniye Nin Kaito men sign a cola, bring call not a Latin. Noha Kijera wala mulu in a manna kokundin tamandi je, itala korda la carola, man kokun mana kokundin kije.
No, man, for phobia.
No, they did nothing there up to date.
Are you exercising ownership rights over that property?
Animbi, itela taya. Ika ole tamandi je kunna banko itele tamujeti.
Itela taya le bije.
My ownership is what is there, and they have left it alone. Left the place alone now.
You're suggesting that in spite of the judgment against you or the claimed judgment against you and the document you have signed ceding that land to Awajalo, you are still exercising ownership rights over that property and they did not say anything. Is that what you say?
Anim fanang kuolu natala nyamin ka foko ye kito leke sefo ya meye dinkira nyin tayte bulu wolu be kola foko nyin nata bang itel nata buji hanim bi jela taro ab itela tayato abole to hanim bi bang
abi jebana tayato ansayam because itelle ko judgment ko but kiti manke jela
it's still under my ownership. You claim there was a judgment. How could that have happened when I wasn't aware when I was in the country?
Just answer the question. Are you still exercising ownership rights over the property and what is their reaction to that?
Saying hanimbi tebe tayale tamande kanje koitele tamujeti itel dunna tamune kewo kuoto
they did nothing from that day till date.
Fenko block work foko na mutadaminto yele fenso konenti wolto ya bunlo wolto fana
where they erected the four corners, that was where they stopped, and they also erected their compound within the limits of the four corners.
In essence, you are telling us that the abuse or the alleged abuse of authority by Noah Kijera, getting you to sign that document, was not in fact enforced.
Muntebenye fokanko Noah Kijera aylan tambo menke wala ay men parendi ay men fo lafta menke la num amanna woke silang amunta ko kol nata to wala nyama hanimbi ku manke je.
Now let us move on to your other encounter with the NIA.
Okay. Okay.
One day I went to my compound. I was there walking. Someone appeared to me there. He greeted and told me that his name is Talambubu. And he said to me, my compound is over there. There were two compounds between my compound and his. That was how we got to know each other. And each time I'm walking, he used to come to my place. But that time, I already erected a building.
Is it on the same land disputed with Awajalo or on another piece of land?
The same plot of land.
Proceed, please. This event, when did it happen? You and Talambu?
Aketa August Karokono.
It was in the month of August.
Which year?
2016.
In 2016.
Was it before your problem with Hawajalo? Was it during your problem with Hawajalo, or was it after your problem with Hawajalo?
Waketa tu moment aketa watu mewayatra ining Hawajalo manyinkole akuo soto wala akuo bekerin tu moment na ining Hawajalo la nyinkole akuo wala akuo kola tambirilo Talambu ko natake
nintalal kuo kola la Hawajalo kuo natafundije
nintalala kuo kola.
It was after the issue with Talambu that Hawajalo's issue came up.
Now let's talk about your issue with Talambu.
In Talambu la ko kete nyame fanan bang.
Nin talal folo tanyola nyindinkira kelonto.
The first tussle was between me and Tala over this piece of land.
Ala natan taraje nata fo Tala ko wotembo nenani momo problems or jefang.
At that time, I never had any problems over that land with anybody. But one day, Tala came to me. I was sharing the same border with Hawa. When the rain starts and the grass sprouts, And she will tell me, help me with workers who would clean my place after cleaning yours. We were in that situation until I started erecting my house.
So
and she never started our own house. And we had a very amicable relationship with Hawa. Then I said to Hawa, in fact, I want to dispose of this plot of land. My family said to me, this place is far off. Do you think within your lifetime we'll be able to settle here? And if you are not alive, we will not be able to settle here because this place is far off. I noticed that if that were to happen, that would mean a dispersal of the family. One day, Tala came and found me on my land. Then I said to him, I want to sell off this land and move to another area. He said to me, as far as there are only 2 compounds between us, I would like to have it. And then I discussed with him. We agreed on 800,000, including the house that was already erected. We were there, and then he brought $230,000. He told me, go and prepare the transfer documents.
At this time, did you write any document stating what was the purchase price and how much of the advance he has paid?
Watembo, yekaito dedale me ya itandi ali d'accord ta kodo nanga mo men atanyanta menjola aning ay nanga mo men dundi follow ka foko nyino advance oti foto kaito safele mo tumo bang.
Man kaiti safe bar nga fo mol nyala.
I did not write any document, but this transaction was revealed to some people.
It was discussed in the presence of some people.
Proceed, please.
Okay, tente.
Nata kata kaito nyindada.
I went on to prepare the documents.
Enanka kaito dada banku masila.
Before I completed preparing the documents,
nata afonya ko dulanyi nata kalamta ko aba risafo le kono.
He came to me and said that he has got to know that in fact that plot of land was inside a reserve land.
Who did he say whose reserve it belonged to?
Reserve land.
Yes, he told me. That is the government reserve, Yaya Jammeh's reserve.
Yaya Jammeh ni Mansakunda, they're not the same. Yaya Jammeh and the government are different entities.
Yaya Jammeh ni Mansakunda fatatale.
Jumala reserve lem.
Jumala reserve lem. Yaya lem fulo.
Yaya Jammeh reserve lem.
Was Yaya Jammeh's reserve.
I
said to him, before proceeding with the transaction, let me refund you your money. Because there was one person they called Setumbub. He wanted to play this same thing, do the same thing to me. He said to me, this Setumbub that you are mentioning, I know him, but we are not related. And we are not also acquainted.
Okay, nkai bisimila. Bisimbije alota nyinkam ko komen ko reserve wala mo ate ko firo infanata bonola.
He said he stood on the grounds that in fact the land was situated on a reserve land, but then he insisted not to cancel the transaction and to proceed on with it.
Nga silan firo nyi maji ko be continue la tanga firo danjanna ela ko do kensum dum fele nga sedo kumandi mi yalon kadi ko nay firo fo la nyala nga ko do nyilandi.
I said to him, I see no way in which this transaction can proceed. Here is your money, and I called the people who were witnesses to the transactions for them to be present when the money is being refunded to him.
Did he accept the money?
Amanson kodo nyinta la kwenye ko firo nyinta bono la kwa tambitale.
He refused to accept the money and said that this transaction cannot be cancelled because his money has stayed too long in my hands.
Did you finalize the transfer?
Silandu wo transfer inata tola banna bang.
Mana na continent ngalon di follow kun kilen rek mbije rek enali encore.
I couldn't proceed. I stopped. Just after 1 week, I was picked up by the NIA.
I was called by the NIA.
I was called at the NIA. Yeah, command,
Yankuma NIA yankumandi kwenye ko minketa Lamin Siseti.
He called me, the person of Lamin Sise,
kwenye ko itela Musa Cham tenko ha telephone.
And said to me, "Are you Musa Cham?" I said yes, and that was over the telephone.
Kwenye ko science ayene danko na NIA headquarter jam sign.
He said to me, "Come and answer to the NIA headquarters immediately."
And this Lamin Sise, where is he from? Do you know?
Lamin Sise, abotamin tuale, faya lon na bang?
Nga long NIA office ole to.
I knew him in the NIA office.
Do you know his place of origin?
Ya lon na abota sa te umento bang?
Ha nga lon.
Yes, I know.
Tell us.
Fanya
Burufutile.
He's from Brufut.
Did you go to respond to him at the NIA?
Itate danku la le NIA bang?
Datan dankala je.
I went and I answered to him.
Kwenye mfuta draka kwenye sita meta rek talafana nata funtina.
I got there and he asked me to sit down. After some time, Tala came and joined us.
Watarja ninkata.
But before I left,
Nanna dima do koli kafa Salif Cham.
I called one of my sons called Salif Cham.
I
said to him, I was called by the NIA to go and answer, and I do not know what's happening. I said to him, I am not also involved in anything else except the issue that I have with Tala. He said to me, go, I'll call you after some time, whether I get you or not. If things get difficult, I will send someone to come after you. I was sitting down there that morning until almost around 12.
Somebody called Lamin Sise on the phone
and telling him that my name is Lawyer Gomez.
They
spoke over the telephone until they were ready. And then Lamin Sise asked me, did you inform anyone that you were coming here? I said to him, yes.
A lawyer can call something.
He said to me, a lawyer just called me now.
Saying that we are here.
But I told him that there is no problem. There are only some questions that we want to ask you.
Were you allowed to go home that day? Just answer the questions. I know what I'm doing. Were you allowed to go? You were not allowed to go home that day.
That day I went home.
Okay.
It was late in the evening.
Were you asked to come back?
They told me when coming back, bring all documents that are in relation to the compound. In the morning, I left with all those documents. I was there, and then Lawyer Gomez came there.
Mr. Mbub.
There is one NIA officer they call Mr. Mbub.
Mr. Gomez came in lawyer.
He came and said to Mr. Sise, Mr. Gomez, the lawyer is asking for you. Sise told him to tell him to go and sit in your chambers.
In his
chambers.
This place here is my chamber.
If this was the time of the military rule...
No. If he spends more than 5 minutes there, I will arrest him and put him in a cell.
ay funti jan science a tarata nyame
Let them leave these premises immediately.
lam si senada fonye ko ite ka lawyer bolana kana minella
Lamise said to me, why are you asking the lawyer to come? What is he coming here for?
nka ko because ndimale akol ko mbijanne nka kuno ay kol wala bifana natanno ka wala bifana ndima akol ko mbijanne
I said to him, it was my son who called him yesterday and informed him. Today too, he called him and told him that I was here. That's why he came.
Ga in fact ni firo from tema interest al birin juna nga fulando an assignment ko do kensun fele la renyo kanjan lafta ka firo nyimbondi.
I said to him, in fact, this transaction, I'm not interested in it anymore. Here is the money. I want to refund it and to end everything.
Akonya okay, si follow for nyatu demanding.
He said, well, sit down for some time.
Sita for tala woro mafanna.
I sat down until around 6 p.m.
Ay dokula do commander dinol kono.
He called one of his subordinates
Ko etan sindu lakili.
and told them to
Go and detain me.
Cindy Dula killing.
Wala ma etan samba selot.
that is to take me inside a cell.
Were you taken to the cell?
Ye dundi selo kono ba.
Ayan dundi jele.
Yes, they put me in.
And for how long did you remain detained at the NIA?
Yeti wati jelle ke muto kono NIA je.
Ilim warning killing.
21 days.
Mr. Chair, this is perhaps a convenient time to stop for lunch break, and we would finish when we return.
Biton legal amunta council ko nyino wato to nyanta kulu dana jang follow ngata kontonga ni muruta na nsiko tenten before janabe ban.
Thank you very much, Council, and thank you, Mr. Chairman. We'll take a 1 hour lunch break, come back at 2:30. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you.